Hitler has only got one ball. Goering has two but very small. Himmler has something similar. And poor old Goebbels has no balls at all. Hello, everyone. Felix here. You know what? I don't have the tactical, the ultra tactical BGM. So let me go pull up my let me go pull up my where's my BGM? Anyways, so I guess before we start, I guess I should let you know what's been going on. Had to do the adult thing earlier and clean up a big mess. I broke a bottle of this awful catsup. Hold on, where is that? Um where is that? Excuse me. Give me a moment as I find my as I find my BGM. There we go. There we go. Hold on. My deepest apologies. Um there we go. There we go. Hopefully I don't get an ad. This isn't exactly the BGM I had in mind for this, but it is what you get. Hello everyone. Okay, official. Hello everyone. Felix here. Let me go check chat. Is there anyone in chat? Not so far. Hey, Streamlabs finally letting me adjust the chat bar. Anyways, um, excuse me. So I feel like I felt before. Why was I singing that in the intro? Well, today is the what is it? What day is it? It's the something anniversary of the Spitfire, of the battle of the premiere of the Spitfire, as James May and Jeremy Clarkson has discussed. Um, has discussed. So I decided to throw them a bone. One of the few times I'll throw the British a bone here, but they do make absolutely beautiful planes. Anyways, let me get chat up on my. I have chat. Beep. Hi, Clanker. Hi, Clanker. Anyways, I do feel the need to address that I got a little bit heated on Maine. I got a little bit heated, just a little bit. Oh, let me put chat above my head where it belongs. I got a little heated, a little on the Twitter, on the big X, on the big black Twitter. And I feel the need to address that. Well, recently gotten a few spats with a couple people. Sauray, Powder, this other guy who was insulting veterans. I just decided to step in. And well, I get it that a lot of you don't tune into your VTubers, to your little anime boys and girls online for politics. But I guess when I get involved, I feel the need to clarify myself and give a proper statement, because if I'm going to talk about it on one platform and ignore it on the other, then what's the point? So I got a little heated, and over the new war that is in fact going on. And the simple truth of it is it a complicated way? Is it complicated to say that you support a war as something, because war is bad. It is not something to be inherently celebrated, as it is in fact, as you are killing your fellow brother. But the fact generally is, if I had to muster the balls to say it, yes, I do support the ongoing thing going on in the Middle East. And quite frankly, it's like, I mentioned this before, I think when it came to the Venezuela incident earlier this year. I'm not going to celebrate violence for the sake of violence, but when it comes to things like the ongoing conflict and things of that regard, I'm not going to speak out against people that that I do people that I genuinely support. I'm not going to speak ill of my own nation because that's what it is. I hold it very patriotically and very dear to me that I am an American, and that America is willing and able to protect people, foreign or domestic, from tyrannical regimes. And again, I'm not going to celebrate war for the sake of war. I'm not going to celebrate violence for the sake of violence. But if like if it's the work of removing an active of like avenging the deaths of a lot of people who have been needlessly killed in prior wars by a country that they weren't even fighting against, if it's liberating people from a violent regime that does human rights abuses and kill and murders protesters on the daily, I'm not going to weep for them. I'm not going to weep for bad men. Perhaps it is a sin to do so because I should be praying for my enemies, but it's the simple fact of it is that people are hurting. There are threats to us in that region, and I support taking them out because we can rest easier at night knowing that we don't have to deal with this anymore. Getting into the weeds of why this war started and all of that is messy, and all I'm gonna say is refuting what I said to Sauray is, yeah, it's not, I do think that the things that we are accomplishing is just. I mourn the loss of lives, I mourn the loss of servicemen, but that's what it is. And I don't want to be some chicken hawk that hides behind a computer who just supports war from behind a computer like some Redditor or whatever. I say this as someone who is interested in partaking in some kind of service to my country, as I've stated before. I'm not gonna, I do feel that genuine loyalty in me for that. I do have my allegiance, and it's not compromised. Again, war is a difficult subject, it's a messy subject, but I'm not going to speak ill of my country or the good things that we're doing in that place. And the same goes for gotten a bit of a spat with, well, she didn't respond, she didn't block me. I guess she doesn't care, which is good on her. I think I should mention the odd thing that I've got that my odd sort of fan history with Sauray. First, I liked her. I thought she was very interesting because we shared a lot of interests. Then I found out she was like being really rude to her artists or whatever, like with the art contest, and then she apologized, and I just decided, you know what, I'm gonna give her a second chance. He's collabing with Lumi, she seems fine. And then she came out and supported Fruit. Again, not exactly not exactly the greatest person in the world to support. Decided, you know what, I'm not gonna I should cut myself out of this. I'm not. It's not for me. She whatever she does, it's not gonna be for me. And then she goes out and says all this using fucking spec ops the line to toss some veiled political anti-American message. I'm not gonna take that line down. I just left a snide little comment, and then she ended up blocking me. But I guess the more pertinent one that I had to address is my response to Powder, which I'm going to be honest and up clear. I know she's a very controversial VTuber. Not a some of the stuff she's been saying started to make me uncomfortable about first I thought, oh, she could be bae, she's willing to speak her mind, but then you realize I don't know if she's saying this for views or if she's saying this out of genuine honesty of her heart, but she started saying stuff that I became quite uncomfortable with. And then this broke the straw. This was the straw that broke the camel's back. I'm not gonna take that lying down. Oh, you're gonna die for X country that isn't America. I'm not gonna look. I don't worship any other country. like I love a lot of other different cultures. I'm not going to worship any other culture, country that isn't mine, because that is what it is. And I don't know. I've been dancing around a lot of stuff. Like my take on certain countries in the Middle East is I don't support them. I don't support them entirely. I'm not gonna like getting into the weeds of why I do and say the things that I do is is gonna be messy inherently. I guess to make this clear, I'm not a Zionist. I don't consider myself of that camp. I'm not gonna like visibly support anything of that kind. But I don't want to hate anyone based entirely out of some country or some culture or some some or race, ethnicity, culture, anything. I'm not like I don't want to discriminate on those lines. I'm not going to do that, especially as the kind of person that I am in the country that I'm in. I'm not going to do that and sit there and do that kind of thing. But I just want peace in the region, and I do think genuinely that that what we're doing there politically is in the interest of peace. And I don't want it to go on for longer. I want it to be as short and as slow take it as short and quick as possible, because letting it all die down again after all is said and done is probably the best route to go forward. But yeah, anyway, that's me. That's me having to confront the stuff I've said on Twitter. I love my country, and God bless the people of Iran. I hope they're being safe, and unironically, God bless the troops, because I have a lot of Oshis who are there, not there, but just like part of the military. A lot of Oshis who are, a lot of friends who are on the online circles, and I wish them well, because I know they're in the best interest. Like what they're doing is in my best interests, and that's that. You know what? That's that. Enough of me doing that, because that's not what you came here for. This is just me talking about this movie that I saw, which I found interesting. I've been actually I didn't see Olympus Has Fallen in theaters. I didn't see London Has Fallen in theaters. I didn't see this in theaters. But that being said, these movies, the Has Fallen series, this is this works well as a standalone movie. You don't have to see the prior ones to know what goes on in these movies. But yeah, in this one, filming began in Bulgaria and the United Kingdom. Why wasn't this filmed in the States? That I question. Why wasn't this filmed in the States? So, for context, the original Olympus Has Fallen, which was in 2013. This was the whole big movie about the like Die Hard in the White House. A lot of terrorists infiltrate Washington D.C. and attack the White House, and they hold the president hostage. And then there's just one Secret Service agent played by Gerard Butler who has to go in and save him. Overall, like they're very they're very Michael Bay-esque. You would I like Antoine Fuqua. I like his work on a lot of he did Replacement Killers. I thought Wu did that, but he did this, and he did the Magnificent Seven remake, which I found really good. But this movie, like these are not perfect movies. Being entirely honest, this Olympus Has Fallen has some really stupid moments in this. It's a very Michael Bay-esque movie. You get this from Live Free or Die Hard or something of that sort. It's in the style of The Rock, if you've seen The Rock. I think Fuqua did really well here, but yeah, again, it's a very if you like Michael Bay movies, you'll unironically enjoy Olympus Has Fallen. This is a very is it schlock? Is it slop? Maybe, but I like it. It's tense enough to keep you gripped. There are some scenes that I could do that I feel like I could have done a lot better. But Like there are a lot of nonsensical points in Olympus Has Fallen, but London has fallen. London has fallen. London Has Fallen was better. I genuinely like. Again, there's like some poorer moments in London Has Fallen, but I think this did the whole. This did it well because it had that whole. There were elements of like this one was limited to Washington D.C. This terrorist attack in Washington D.C. The White House. It's also it functions as a disaster thriller as well because it kind of in that excuse me, in that sense it has it functions as a disaster thriller because there's all these gratuitous scenes of these national landmarks being bombed, um like you've got like an ace like an like because the bad guys in this one are North Koreans, and they somehow got an AC-130 into DC airspace and like started shooting everyone up, and like they hit the White House. I think they hit the Capitol building, and then they hit the Washington Monument and the National Mall. It is a bit gratuitous in the way that in the way that it handles things. In the way that it handles things, it is a bit excessive, but it is and the same goes for London Has Fallen, I think, which did the idea of the disaster thriller equally well. And it had because instead of being confined to one location, the characters have to move from different location to different location. They're not in their own country. They have to move around and make sure that they're not caught by the terrorists or whatever because the whole city is at war. Very like now that I realize it, this is very like very Modern Warfare 2 and 3. Very much in that sense. And maybe it's because I played a lot of Call of Duty recently. A lot of it's really easy to compare the screenwriting of like Olympus Has Fallen, London Has Fallen, Angel Has Fallen specifically as well to something like something like Modern Warfare 2 and 3, the original, because they really leaned into that sort of cartoon like a serious political thriller but with cartoonish bad guys and like intent and like gory action and all that. And it leaned into that, and I think it's fun. I think it's fun in that sense. Again, I think it feels like a Michael Bay movie. Mixed reviews from critics. Criticize the overt violence in the screenplay, but Angel Has Fallen. So I've been waiting to see this for a long time. Actually, of course, Morgan Freeman is the president is like portraying the president in this one. Gerard Butler. Everyone knows Gerard Butler. If you know him from like 300, this is Sparta guy. You know him. Oh yeah, Lance Reddick is in this as a supporting role. But anyways, so I've been waiting to see this for a long time. This came out 7 years ago. It doesn't feel that because I've been waiting to see this movie for a long time. We didn't get to see it in theaters, but I finally got to watch it. And I mean, it could have been better. It could have been better. It didn't make the same kind of impact to me that it didn't have the same kind of impact to me that Olympus Has Fallen and London Has Fallen kind of did. This is like I said, these are like Olympus and London are disaster movies. These are disaster flicks, very much in the sense of kind of like Die Hard, kind of like Die Hard. When I did that collab with Kilroy, and I mentioned near the end about like the hospital shootout in Hard Boiled, it has that disaster movie element about it. This still has some of those elements, but this is more conspiracy thriller. This is more like conspiracy and that's my main point about this. This leaned in a more subtle conspiracy theory direction about things going on, but it didn't. It could have leaned better into that. It could have leaned better into the conspiracy elements, like left it more shadowy, left it and it doesn't handle things the best way. But do I think it's worth a watch? If you need something to put on, like turn on the TV and like put something on, why not this? That's my rating at the end of the day. Probably like I know I'm getting into it quite quickly. 6 to 7 out of 10. 7 is rather generous, but maybe like definitely above a 5 because it's like it's there's a lot of fun stuff about it. But anyway, so for opening scene is this guy is Gerard Butler's character, Agent Mike Banning, who is like this like experienced Secret Service agent. He's been doing like he did the like he was the hero here. Like it's following his story. The Olympus has fallen, London has fallen, now Angel has fallen because he's the like the big hero that goes through this like whatever. All this stuff just happens to him, and it's funny and it's crazy, but it's part of the plot. But you have him doing this like shoot house course in this military facility. You're initially meant to think, oh wow, this is like we're gonna see what's the term in medias res, where we see him where we see him plunge into this scene. He's taking down bad guys. He's in full armor, but he's got only a pistol, which makes you wonder like what's going on. Maybe he's under attack, and all these guys are like maybe the government's already hunting him because instead of terrorists, he's fighting these guys in full kit, these goons and like these hardcore goons in full kit. Whatever they got. Then you notice one of them has an AK. Maybe this is in a foreign country. Maybe there's a flashback to his special forces days, and then finally at the end, like he's being hunted by a helicopter. Like it's a decent opening. Good like a good opening hook. And then you finally see it because it's revealed to be at the end to be a training exercise. He gets shot, but it's revealed to be a paintball round by and he's doing this with his owned by his former Army Ranger commanding officer Wade Jennings, now CEO of a PMC Salient Global. So he does that. He's doing that. There's this guy that and you quickly notice that a lot of the people that he's training with, despite being on U.S. soil, are foreigners. Like you got British guys, you've got presumably like Ukrainian or Russian guys running AKs. Good mix here. Good mix of like interesting gun. Like if you're into guns, you're gonna get like your fair share of gun porn out of this. So there's that, and something I noticed actually is the set of Salient Global, because like there's this like Blackwater. I think Blackwater is mentioned by name even in this movie, but like Salient Global is supposed to be this kind of Blackwater or American Wagner kind of paramilitary group that's operating on soil. Like they've got private contractors from all over the world. They've got ex-US operators because it's like the CEO is an Army Ranger. Um, the CEO is an Army Ranger, and something I noticed is that their training base and their base of operations has been used as a maybe it's because it was filmed in Bulgaria and like it's an old Soviet base or whatever, but they keep using it in I remember seeing like shots of what is it, Captain America Brave New World, of this exact military base that they filmed this movie on, which I find really funny. That you see it really often. It's billed as being in the U.S., but it's probably like a Soviet base that they just dressed up to look like a U.S. military facility. And so the what's his name? Yeah, the bad guy. It was easy plot twist. Wade Jennings is the bad guy. His former commanding officer. He's a bad guy, but he invites him over to meet his family, eat with his have breakfast with them, and they discuss things. And like one of the things it does address is Butler's character is not a young man. Butler's character, Agent Banning, he's becoming old and withered. He's got PTSD from prior wars because he was an Army Ranger in the GWAT. He was he's probably got a lot of PTSD from the previous stuff that's happened to him. So he starts taking pills. He like seeing doctors because he's having health issues because of like all this prolonged stress on his body from being an operator for so long. So and like but it's discussing that. And one of the things that his former boss, his former commanding officer says to him, Wade Jennings, he says to him, we're lions, we hunt, this is what we do. It's like it's a rather cheesy line, like a very vet bro kind of line, but it does resonate because like these two guys are invested in being they're fully invested in being like behind like on the front line, like running the gun behind the iron sights as long as possible because it's they believe it's what they're meant to do. That's like this is they believe that's their destiny. Like that's why Banning joined the Secret Service after being in the army. That's why Jennings founded a PMC after being in the army. And like the whole motivation of like I want to keep fighting. I want to keep fighting. This is a thrill to me. This is our destiny and that's where it's meant to be. That's a recurring theme in this movie. What like there are some ways that I mean it handles its emotional themes pretty well in my opinion. So it's got that trope. He's getting older, but he's got a baby daughter that he has to take care of. He's got a family. He's got a family. He's got a wife and kid. Um, so he takes the president out, who's played by Morgan Freeman, which is why Morgan Freeman true meme is in the thumbnail. They're out on a fishing trip, yeah, Queens Lake and Williamsburg, in Virginia, and they're out. I think they're supposed to be like on or near Camp David, but the president needed to take a I guess like you can kind of predict the plot pretty early on that the PMCs that run by Jennings is going to be the bad guy because the first shots that you get of the president and his cabinet are him discussing like recent like of like the ironically because this was filmed in 29 in or announced in 2016. Roman Wall was hired in 2017. This kind of low-key predicted the Russian war in Ukraine because this was released in this was really filming began in February 2018, but this was released in 2019 and the war in Ukraine happened in 2021 actually. And that so the and like but it like a major plot point of this is that Russia is expanding the military and like being going hardliner against other countries and like and they're asking if NATO or the US needs to combat that expansionism by like widening its military and like leading into private contractors as to not be overstretched. And of course like the main like the other faction besides the government involved in this is the PMC. So you kind of like get it like you kind of get really aware that that the bad guys are going to be the PMC pretty early on, but you need to know who's going to do what. So they do that. It's revealed early on that someone in the president's cabinet has been leaking like false information to the press in order to smear the president and his policies for refusing to privatize sections of the military, and that's the main crux of that issue. So I guess the president takes a vacation. He goes over to like he goes to Williamsburg. I think it was meant to be Camp David because Camp David is mentioned in the original Olympus Has Fallen. He goes out on a fishing trip. Probably is going to go hunting too, and. Oh, excuse me. He's probably gonna go hunting too, and they're out on the water. They're out fishing. Banning is with the president. Banning is with the president, and you know there's a lot of Secret Service agents keeping Overwatch because they kind of need to. They have a perimeter set up so no one crosses into their line while the president is doing his thing. And yeah, a swarm of armed drones attacks and kills his protection detail, with only Banning surviving and saving him. I might as well show I might as well show the trailer because like to get a better sense of what I'm talking about. This is like yeah, this is I got the thumbnail from here. Like again, like there are part like while this is like mostly action slop, like it's a bit sloppy in the way that it handles handles things like it's not breaking any new ground in terms of filmmaking, but it's still a fun like this is one of those scenes that it's like a genuinely fun movie. Hold on, Angel Has Fallen trailer one. Yeah, let's show this so you get a better sense of what I'm going for. So there's the president going on vacation.
Really like fishing, Mr. President. It's cold out here. Sorry. I ain't anything to get out of DC for a while. Mike, I'm selecting you for Secret Service Director. Congrats.
So he does that. Yeah, he announces that he's selecting Banning for Secret Service director because his previous superior was killed off in previous movies, but I guess he got a new one, and then now because he's used to being on the president's personal detail or with the counter assault team.
I'll give him my best shot, sir.
Banning's on his way.
What is that? Are they bats?
Yeah, these are baby Shaheeds. I think the ironic thing is like a lot of this movie, like a few times this movie has uncomfortably gotten pretty close to home. Again, these so like you got this like kamikaze drone attack on the Secret Service. It blows up Marine One.
Don't move! I'm coming to you! They're coming at you, Mark! Get him in the water! Get him! Go!
There's that scene, yeah.
Sir, I got you. Going under. Dive deep.
There's been an assassination attempt on the president.
Mike Banning, you're being charged with the attempted murder of the President of the United States.
Okay, yeah, they're revealing the plot to this stuff early.
President's top guardian angel has fallen.
Can't you see that I'm being set up?
That was a good scene though. The scene on the highway.
We've been getting death threats.
There's somebody else behind us. It wasn't me. The president's not safe. They're gonna try and finish the job. And I'm not gonna stop until I prove who did this. I love you.
How did you find me?
I want security for the president. How do you think, Dad?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about this in a second.
We gotta get out of here. I ain't going nowhere.
We'll see in a second.
You can't hide from us, Banning.
Don't worry about finding me.
That's Jennings.
I'll find you. Listen to me. We're gonna make a move. Now people are gonna fall. But not you.
So it reveals who the bad guy is pretty early, I guess, if you've seen the trailer. But yeah, this is the this is that scene from the trailer. Hopefully I don't get like DMCA'd or whatever because I'm just like showing out these clips.
Come with me. Get him under the ballistic arm cover. Keep him down. I'm on my way.
This scene happens. They've got all these kamikaze. I call them baby Shaheeds or mini Shaheeds because of the resemblance of the real drone that this kind of represents. These are too small to do the kinds of damage that they're shown doing in the movie. Yeah, there's got like Hollywood explosions and everything. They're way too small. They're way too numerous to do that kind of thing. But this is genuinely like quite scary. If you've seen that PSA movie, the Slaughterbots, about a group releasing armed drones over a country and then they're independently tracking people, they're independently tracking people based on biometric information and then like they're hunting them down. They kind of played with that. They played with that here. They played with that here very hard because it's shown as like identifying the Secret Service agents that they're programmed to kill. Again, it's not like there's some parts that are unrealistic, but it does hit pretty hard. And a minor gripe that I do have with this movie is that it's not very it's not like for like normally like you've heard me say that like a lot, sometimes like the gore is excessive in places like I don't know Game of Thrones or The Boys or the Fallout TV show where like where I consider it like excessive or like fetishized or like almost like fetishistic the way that it like has a lot of blood and gore. But in here, I feel like for a rated R movie, this movie is really sanitized. The violence can be really sanitized. Yeah, there's bodies flying everywhere, but there's not a lot of blood shown. There's not a lot of like not a, there's no visceral feeling that you get because like they're like the good guys are like when they're attacked by the bad guys they're thrown away, they're like thrown around like they ragdoll everywhere and they have all that, but it's not visceral enough. There's not enough like I feel like it doesn't show the reality of the violence and that it's too sanitized in that regard, especially when in London has fallen and Olympus has fallen. It really leaned into the really visceral visceral thriller kind of the side of the violence. But here it's a bit too sanitized here.
Don't move the Kraken somehow! Just hold still and keep them covered, Murph! I'm coming to you!
This is not it's not entirely realistic because like they're supposed to like they've got this like multiple rocket launch system that's like launching all the drones out of it, and it's like supposed to be it's kind of like the metal storm gun because it's like but it's pneumatically powered. Again, this isn't a realistic like depiction of an actual like kill drone or whatever. They don't have to have the variable sweep wings. They don't have to have I guess that the pusher propeller makes sense if it folds out during flight. But like looking at this and looking at stuff like the war in Ukraine and even ongoing wars that's going on right now in other parts of the world, like the Middle East, like I mentioned before, and you see like drone footage like these, like the suicide drones and the kamikaze drones. This is it is a very startling look into the future. Again, this isn't like a try-hard movie that tries to depict the future of warfare or whatever, but in the times that it does, it is frighteningly accurate as to what it is in real life. Of course, they don't look like this. Like they don't look like baby jet heads. They're usually something like quadcopters with like C4 strapped to them. But it is scary. It is genuinely frightening to see it from like the down low, like their perspective, the Secret Service agents as they're getting attacked, and the way that like it's identifying them biometrically like slaughter bots. It does lean into that aspect. This is one of the better scenes of the movie, in my opinion. Yeah, it might all be CGI, but they did a good job with the sound design and making it feel real. You gotta like I wish he had optics on his MP5 because a lot of the builds here, a lot of the builds on the guns like the MP5 and the AR-15 that they're using. I like the AK builds in this movie and the few times the AKs show up. But you do wish that like he's a Secret Service agent. His MP5 better have like at least like an EO tech or an aim point or something. Like he should have had like an aim point and a laser sight on that at least. But yeah, there's all I love that I love that shot of the MP5 because it shows a good shot of it. You got them taking out the Secret Service boats. Yeah, that's a like I guess as an aside, Secret Service would not be using Magpul stuff on their ARs. They would be using something like they wouldn't be using an M4 with like an EOTech and some Magpul. They would be using something else. I think it's the KAC SR-15, which the British Army is also using now. They're using stuff like that. I at least give them like military M4s because the stuff that they get here doesn't really make sense. But it still looks good. They've got like PSG ones in an earlier scene. So the drones are going after Banning, but they're not. Yeah, they call off the attack. Yeah, Marine 1 and the escort B-22s are taken out. There's the scene that I used for the thumbnail. Okay, to be fair, they did yeah They did a lot of ragdolls here. They did a lot of ragdolling here. Less on the gore, more on the ragdolls. He said, "Fuck." He's in it now.
They're coming at you, Mark.
Get in the water.
The hard cover isn't enough.
What about you?
So that blows up his boat finally. And so he has to go and rescue the president.
Son, I got you. In case I'm going under, dive deep.
Oh, nope. Too much clips. Anyways, going back to the rest of the plot. So that happens, and then so the drone attack happens, and after that, so Banning and the president, his name is Trumbull. I've been referring to him as just the president here. Trumbull, Trumbull, President Trumbull and Banning are the only survivors. They're sent to this hospital that are they're flown to this hospital by the surviving Secret Service agents, and then after the FBI gets on the crime scene, they immediately notice that that multiple rocket launch system that deployed the drones is linked with Banning's DNA because it's covered with his fingerprints, his DNA on everything. He's got there's a lot of incriminating stuff like bank accounts and stuff like that he's allegedly got tied to Russia, and there's accusations that he has been paid off by Russia to orchestrate an attack. Paid off by Russia to orchestrate an attack and kill the president with him as the scapegoat. So he gets arrested. Falsified evidence implicating Banning in the attack, leading to his arrest. So they're taking him to prison. And there's just another really good action scene in the cars where the mercenaries, the salient mercenaries, as mentioned before, they've got this guy that hacks into stuff. They've got this hacker that's able to manipulate certain systems. He deploys an EMP charge that shuts down the police cars that are taking him to prison, and then they take out the cop cars. Then they free Banning, and they free Banning only to kidnap him. A lot of intense scenes that you get here because and something I noticed during the movie is that it feels like it's sponsored by Chevy and Ford because a lot of the cars here, as shown off, are either Chevys or Fords, which I guess is funny. But so the mercenaries ambush the convoy that's taking him to prison. Another really good action scene in my opinion. It's no John Wick, but it portrays this brutally clean form of displaying real tactics going on. So they take him prisoner. They put him in the black van. They put him in a black Suburban, and then take him wherever they're going. So Banning is able to escape from the bad guys. He's able to he kills everything. He kills everyone in the car, crashes it into a tree. Another really good scene demonstrating how effective of a character he can be. He gets free of his handcuffs and all that. There's this really nice scene where he takes apart an HK-416 from the bad guys, takes out this AR-15 firing pin and uses it as a lock pick to pick through his locks, which is fun. And he's able to it leans into Tarkov. It's kind of like Tarkov. He does the looter shooter thing, and he takes all of their Oh, hi Dantiok. Oh no, what do you mean? Oh no. What do you mean? Oh no, what are you saying? Oh no to? But what were you saying? Oh no to, Dantiok? Is it raining outside? It might be raining outside. But again, really good scene. I was able to dispatch the bad guys. I think it's cool that the in this scene, like a lot of the bad guys are using AKs and AR, like AKs and ARs, AR-15s and like AKMs and stuff like that earlier on. I think no, they're AK-101s because they're in 5.56, but they use a lot of those in the finale. But during the attack scene, the attack on the convoy, they're using like these sanitized Scorpion Evos made by CZ, which is fun. Again, CZ as a company is like kind of iffy at the moment, but I do like some of their guns. I think they're interesting at least. So one of them uses a P30, and the other guy one of them uses a P30. A lot of Glocks, a lot of Glocks and Sigs here. Unmasking them as mercenaries from Salient Global, which whom he took part in a training exercise. Realizing that Jennings had betrayed and framed him, Bannon calls his wife Leah from a nearby gas station. The funniest part about this, like the whole gas station scene, is that fucking the gas station scene. Is that he's using a payphone. It's like, I get it. It was 2019. Maybe there's still payphones around. Stream died for a bit. Oh, okay. Oh, thanks for letting me know. Let me check on my settings. But yeah, there's a scene in a gas station where he's calling his wife and basically calling like I guess it's kind of stupid because like he knows he's being wiretapped by the FBI. They're like actively manhunting for him. They already found the crash of the cop car crash and the car that he crashed. He goes to a gas station and uses the fucking payphone that he somehow has quarters on him from the bad guys, I guess. That have you guys ever seen a payphone in real life? Oh, please use a keyframe frequency of 4 seconds or less. Open widget. You know, whenever admittedly, whenever I have the keyframe frequency of 4 seconds or less, studio mode. Anyways, but something I he's calling from a payphone from this gas station, and then immediately these two guys, I guess, because these two guys that are revealed to call the cops. They call the cops on him, and then they're revealed to be I guess militia members that or bounty hunters that come after him. They try to do like a citizen's arrest. One guy pulls an AR out of his trunk. One guy pulls his concealed carry Glock 19 on him, and they go hey, it's citizen's arrest. We need to take you. We're taking you in. Then they and then this trucker who's got this big ass, I think this 357 Magnum in his pants somehow, pulls it out. I think it's the only revolver in the movie. He pulls that out. He decides to participate. I guess it's a little bit demeaning or insulting to guys who are into guns or civilians who are into guns, because they're portrayed as well-meaning, but they're not good at their job. Banning is able to take one of theirs, disarm one of them, take their AR, and scare the other guys into dropping their guns. He hijacks the trucker's truck. And then the cops come. There's this little chase scene where he's he hitches he dismounts the trailer, and he's able to really push that trailer, push the tractor trailer, going on these wild speeds through the West Virginia countryside. Steal a militiaman's 18-wheeler truck pursued by many police officers. Banning escapes after crashing the truck and eventually makes his way to his estranged father, Clay, who had been living off-grid in a cabin in the backwoods of Whitehall, West Virginia. So yeah, that happens. It's another good chase scene. A lot of the better scenes in this movie are around the middle. The White House Vice President Martin Kirby, now acting president, tells the press that Banning is responsible for the assassination attempt with support from the Russian government. So he's basically pitting this on Russia, accusing them of warmongering or attempting to kill the president. So he's going to take an active measure to try and go after Russia as a show of force, I guess, deploy the military there, and he's going to and he's going to specifically start hiring PMCs in order to expand the U.S. military's operations around the world. So it's kind of revealed that early on, it's implied that the vice president is in on the assassination attempt on the president and the framing of Banning, but as a war from the Russian government, Banning and so going back to Banning and his dad, Clay Banning, Banning Senior at least is he is an interesting character. I guess he's kind of that stereotype of the crazy old man that lives in the woods, and we know a crazy old man who lives in the woods, don't we, chat? It's Random Perv. I'm making fun of Random Perv because he's basically this character. Clay Banning or Banning Senior has been living in the woods, and he has this whole one room cabin that's disguised as a wood pile in the middle of the woods in Wendigo territory. He patrols his territory with a hunting rifle. He's got a typewriter where he's literally writing a manifesto, and the movie makes fun of him for that because Banning mentions you've got a fucking manifesto, and it really explores the irony that he's a ready or full on Ready or Not character, Banning Senior, who lives in the woods off the grid. This conspiracy theorist who hates everyone and everything and refuses to let he's this Vietnam vet who I think was an Army Ranger or a Green Beret in Vietnam. He became really disillusioned during the war and left Banning when he was a baby. So it's it's from the angle that he wasn't a good father, but I guess he got caught up in the counterculture of the 60s. He decided to become this nomad that roams around, distrustful of everyone. Distrustful of everyone, and the irony is that he's this conspiracy theorist who hates everyone who's living in the woods, who's afraid that eventually the black helicopters are coming to get him, and his son, ironically, his son Mike Banning becomes a Secret Service agent. He becomes a glowy. His son becomes a glowy, and the father becomes this conspiracy theorist, which I think is it's an interesting angle. I like that angle. But something I noticed is that the plot in between Banning and Banning Senior is something I forgot to mention. The president, after the attack, he survives the assassination attempt, but he's left in a coma. He's left unconscious and unresponsive, which is why the vice president is put in charge, is sworn in and put in charge as the president. Banning, going back to Banning Senior, and the relationship between him and Banning. Let me show this off for a second. If you've seen the Tomorrow War with J.K. Simmons' character and the relationship between the main character here, Chris Pratt's character and J.K. Simmons' character, very, very similar to Angel Has Fallen's depiction. I guess the relationship between Banning and his dad, and it's reflected here, of this whole military men that they've got estranged fathers who are also in the special forces, and they've become estranged for one reason or another, and through and the action of the story kind of propels them together, and they have to reconcile. It's a trope in that sense. I think it's handled really well here, but I do think it's interesting because Tomorrow War came out in 2021. This came out previously. They both did share that previous plot point. The main character is this military man who's been approaching middle age. He's got a daughter or kids of his own. He's got a daughter or kids of his own, his fear of not being a good father kind of stems from his daddy issues from his own father leaving him in the past. In Tomorrow War, he's both of them are J.K. Simmons and Nick Nolte's characters. Banning Senior are depicted as these jaded old Vietnam veteran Vietnam veteran conspiracy theorists that live in the backwoods, and they hate everyone. They don't trust anyone, and their son comes to them when they need their help, but they still resent them because they think they left him. They're like this whole resentment because he thinks he left him. Because he thinks he left him. And hold on, let me go take a drink because my throat is getting a bit hoarse. But yeah, I noticed that plot point. And then so the salient guys come in to try and recapture Banning. The mercenaries, the PMC guys come in to try and and there's this really cool shot of all these goons in black kit with M4s coming and with fast helmets and plate carriers coming out of the woods and chest rigs. They're coming out of the woods with with night vision on, coming in to assault the cabin. And so Banning has to take his dad's hunting rifle and use it against the bad guys. Like you saw there in the trailer scene, where where they're in the forest. Another good scene in my opinion, although it's mostly kind of more for laughs and less for action. Where all the mercenaries come in and try and take him down. And he uses his hunting rifle to snipe a few. Then he has to take his take the bad guys' pistols and shoot through them. But his dad, Banning Senior, one of the funniest scenes in the movie, in my opinion. He has a C4 detonator rigged to every he has a minefield of the entire forest around the cabin is full of IEDs because he predicted the FBI or the ATF is gonna come for him one day. So he has a C4 detonator rigged, and he blows up the entire forest around the house. You have him you see him blowing it up in sections of he drops the gun, pulls out the C4 detonator, and starts clicking it rapidly. All the guys, all the salient mercenaries, the PMCs around the house start blowing up because of the minefield, and he nearly blows up Banning, his son, multiple times because he has to run away from the explosions. And it reminded me so much of that ending scene of Hard Boiled, where the hospital is exploding. You can see you can see Chow Yun-Fat's genuine fear because he has to get away from the fire and the explosions, and he has to get out the window. Same thing kind of happens here with Gerard Butler. It's not as vivid as in Hard Boiled, but I'm gonna mention Hard Boiled again later on. But him running away from the explosions while everyone gets ragdolled and the entire forest, you have this crazy old guy with IEDs blowing up the forest with a C4 detonator. It feels like it's out of it feels like meme material. It feels like it's out of a meme. I hate the Antichrist. I hate the Antichrist. Pulls out a C4 detonator and blows up blows out this incendiary barrels and Fugazi mines around the house. It's like that scene. It's that scene from in Modern Warfare when you play where you have to set off the detonators around the farmhouse. That was a good scene. I really like that scene because it's more it let the action because it let the action take a back seat for the sort of absurdity that this old man has turned has no care for the forest around him that is hiding him and has decided to almost burn it down because he's got all these IEDs hidden in the ground. And the fact that Banning has to run from the fucking explosions he's of Gerard Butler. I guess Gerard Butler and Chow Yun-Fat have something to talk about because their directors, both of their directors or screenwriters nearly kill them during the filming of this movie. It was a good scene. It was a good scene. And it got all these guys ragdolling again. Instead of I guess it's revenge for the the viscerality of all the Secret Service guys getting blown up. Instead, this time it's the bad guys getting blown up by IEDs. That was a good scene. So, and like, he has to convince his dad to abandon the house. He leads the FBI to his location, letting him know that Salient Global is behind all this. There's this subplot about like Jada Pinkett Smith is an FBI agent who's like tracking down Banning, and then he's discovered, and then like Banning is leaving her clues, the FBI agent, leaving her clues as to like point it towards the PMC. PMC is the bad guy. Like you'll find a lot of evidence. The PMC, like, you might be hunting me, but so is the PMC. Go talk to them for the investigation. Later on, like they aren't much of like any consequence because the FBI agents confront the PMC and like they realize, hey, you're involved in the assassination attempt on the president. And then again, this really like rather hardcore scene, but I guess because I found the FBI agent character rather annoying. The villain, like, yeah, he agrees to meet the FBI agents and confess, and then midway when he's on the FBI agents are on his runway of his private airport, he walks up to them, like quick draws a Glock from like appendix position and does the Tom Cruise like the Vince from Collateral like mag dump into the before any of them can react. They just pull the He pulls his Glock from appendix, does a Mozambique, does another Mozambique, and then shoots down the FBI helicopter pilot. Like, not like he doesn't shoot down the helicopter, but he pops him through the windshield, through the windscreen of the helicopter. When and you can, it really goes to show like how effective that he still is, despite being an old man. He's still he's still got the drop on them. He can still like take down these experienced FBI agents, which lets you know how well how it plays. And at first you think, oh, he's doing this for money. He's getting a payout from the Russians or whoever to betray his country. It's revealed at the end. It's revealed like midway through that the vice president is the one that hired the mercenaries to kill the president and frame Banning. So. But something peculiar that you notice is like the bad guy Jennings, here like his prior speech about we're lions, we're supposed to be hunters. This is what we do, and it's about like him because he isn't in the military anymore. His mercenary company is an excuse for him to remain in the field and keep doing missions, keep doing field operations because he still wants to lead the pack. He still wants to like that thrill. He wants to still live on the edge and be what he was, like an officer in the army, leading his army, and then splitting up. Clay goes to Banning's house and saves Leah and Lynn from a kidnapping attempt by Jennings' mercenaries. Finding the bodies of Jennings' gunmen lined up against Clay's cabin, Thompson deduces that Banning was being set up after all. Trumbull awakens from the president wakes up from the coma. Trumbull awakens from his coma, and Kirby is revealed to be Jennings' secret co-conspirator, planning to retaliate for Trumbull's attempted assassination against Russia. Thompson and another agent, Ramirez, confront Jennings on an airfield, but he kills them both. And so, the president wakes up from the coma. And there's something interesting is that despite literally being already found out by the FBI, everyone is onto Salient and the Salient PMC. Everyone is onto him already. Like he announces we're going offshore after this, and like tells everyone to pack up. He's like implied that that he's gonna escape on a helicopter. No. So apparently the guy that's been running the hacking for Salient. Is the volume too loud, guys? I can barely hear myself on this music. Anyways, so Banning manages to infiltrate the hospital that that the president is that the president is being protected in because they can't move him to the White House because he's in a coma. It's a really interesting scene because at first he takes one of his pistols, this very very Hitman-like, very like Hitman Agent 47, like he kidnapped a state trooper, I think a Virginia state trooper, or maybe it was Maryland. No, I think it was I think it was a Maryland state trooper. He kidnaps a state trooper and near the hospital, cleans himself up, dresses in his uniform, dresses in his uniform, goes over to the hospital, disguised like somehow facial recognition software didn't pick him up, disguises himself as a cop, as the state trooper, and then calls into the hospital. Shots fired. We've got like this bad guy on this entrance to divert all the guards in the Secret Service and the FBI agents at the hospital to go somewhere else. He goes in around the front, and then he ambushes the Secret Service detail. Like, of course, the Secret Service guy instantly recognizes him, but he gets the drop on him, and then forces him to take him up to the elevator, up to the president's hospital room, and where they get in a standoff. They get in a standoff. Banning turns himself in. He's got this whole scene of like this real rather dramatic but slightly absurd scene of Banning holding a gun to his fellow Secret Service agent's head, walks him in. Lance Reddick goes, "Are you out of your fucking mind? What is wrong with you?" And then he has to like he kind of sounds like a lunatic because he's rambling about that Salient is after the president, that the president isn't safe in the hospital room. No one trusts him because they still think he's the one responsible for the assassination attempt. But the president wakes up, is able to recognize Banning, and tells everyone, no, Banning is safe. I don't know what Banning did, but I trust him because the last thing I remember is him saving my life. So that is established, and then it's revealed that the Salient, the hacker guy on Salient's side. It's rather Hollywood depictions about like Banning talks to the Secret Service, cybersecurity, and the hospital security. About like security breaches like in their network, in their cyber network. A very, very Hollywood, like, for surface level presentation. Were you hacked? It's like kind of like with Skyfall. He hacked us. There's no actual computer terminology being used. It's enough to make you realize, yeah, they're talking out of their ass. They don't exactly know what happened, like how this would be pulled off in real life. But it's revealed that that they're trying to detonate, like, they're trying to over-oxygenate the hospital wing of the president and then light it on fire so the building will blow up. They're trying to cause a gas leak. They're basically trying to cause a gas leak in that part of the hospital that's going to bring down the section. The order an evacuation, and then Banning has to join the rest of the Secret Service again and get into this nearby office building for cover, because Salient is hunting them down. And one of the wildest scenes of the movie is, instead of like retreating to his offshore location, Jennings decides to divert his entire army, his entire squad. I think it's like the size of a company of men, like maybe 80. Like, is it 80 men? No, it's less than that. Maybe 50 guys. 50 men that he has with him. He sends all of them to attack the hospital. He's like, and like, I guess that's why, like, he's not in it for the money. He's in it for the thrill. Like, the action is the juice for him. He is in it so he can lead his pack. He pulls out this giant battle rifle, this AR-10, from the trunk of his car. They're all pulling up in these black Suburbans. They ambush the Secret Service convoy. And again, a really good scene in my opinion. This scene is a really good one in my opinion. Yeah, fun fact, this is the guy from Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. He was in Mission Impossible 6 and Mission Impossible 7. This guy who played Zola, the White Widow's brother. His character isn't named here, but he's basically Jennings' right-hand man. This is Jennings. They're in this ancient Chrysler 300. Yeah, this was a good scene. This was another good scene.
Down their comms. Take away their backup.
Jamming Secret Service comms now.
Yeah, this is their guy.
Backup Sims.
He takes out the driver. The the bad guy has this big gun. He's got this. He's basically acting both as team leader and as the designated marksman of the team because he's running his battle rifle.
Yeah, passenger side. Go. Keep that stand. Bury them under the rubble.
And something I noticed is that yeah, it's like a kind of sloppy action movie, but the bad guys here are genuinely like really competent at what they're doing. Yeah, they're caught off guard by by Banning Senior earlier in the movie, but here they're genuinely good at their job. These are goons like the salient mercenaries. Oh no. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. I'm sorry. I can't mm. Okay, I'm not showing the movie anymore. Let me I'm deleting the movie. Hold on. Angel has fallen trailer. Angel has fallen final scene. Oh man. Okay. Hold on. Please tell me we can get back up. We detect video because avoid Okay, we're back up. We're back up. We're back up. We're back up. Hold on. Can you guys hear me? Yeah, okay. I won't show any more of the movie. I won't show any more of the movie. My bad. My bad because there's this really good scene. I was talking about how good that scene was. Stream is back. Stream is back. The glowies got me. The glowies got me. Um, hold on. um, hold on. Anyways, um, yeah. So I can't show any more of the movie. It's only a little bit of the scene. Anyways, yeah, Angel has fallen. A lot of there was this scene there again. There was that scene. They the salient bad guys assault the Secret Service convoy, and they reserve oxygen nitrogen supplied unstable levels, causing explosion at the levels of the hospital. Banning hides Trumbull and Gentry as Jennings' men pursue them in the ensuing gun battle. Because there's again this really good scene where the members of the Secret Service counter assault team and Banning are working together to hole up in this office building. in this office building, and then the mercenaries, the PMC attacks the Secret Service. Attacks the Secret Service. It's very no Russian because it looks. Yeah, you see all these armed men in like suits and black storming into the civilian building. Very like I made the compare like I one of the guys hold on, Angel has fallen. The M203. This guy I nicknamed Makarov. I should be naming him Joseph Allen, but I nicknamed him Makarov because he's running his M4 with a grenade launcher with the M4 and M203. He's running his M4 with M203, and it's very like it feels like it feels very modern warfare. It feels very no Russian. Very no Russian in the way it handles things. I mentioned before, like parts of this feels like it's modern warfare. Like this whole series, the Olympus Has Fallen, London Has Fallen, Angel Has Fallen is very modern warfare, original trilogy coded, and this is no different. Very no Russian-esque scene because he kicks down the door. That guy kicks down the doors, all of his guys stream in. Like, as much as, like, to give them credit, they're not attacking civilians needlessly. If civilians are running out, they're moving in, they pay no attention to each other, and then they're just, like, very calmly assaulting the Secret Service position. They're, like, again, these are, for what they're worth, I guess it's because all of them are prior operators. The salient mercenaries are actually, like, if I were to, like, hire them, if I were to hire like bad guy goons to do my bidding, the salient mercenaries are actually a pretty good bet because are actually a pretty good bet because they're able to properly ascertain a position. They get in sniping positions that they can flank the Secret Service counter assault team that is handing that is protecting the president. There's a scene where one of the Secret Service counter assault operators goes, last mag, and kind of like that scene from Modern Warfare 2 where Ramirez tosses you one last mag, and then he last mag, make it count, and then he's sitting they're behind these concrete barriers. They're behind these concrete barriers, so it's a good shootout. Like, unfortunately, I'm not able to show it because YouTube is YouTube will not allow me to show the oh, someone's downstairs, but YouTube won't allow me to show that scene. It's a good scene. Very no Russian coded, but I guess the Secret Service is fighting back. The Secret Service guys are slowly going down. They're like defending it like proper soldiers. They're defending the president's position. They're defending the president's position like proper soldiers. They're moving in, and in the meanwhile, Banning has to because so one of the like a minor plot point from earlier is that. The Secret Service didn't have any more spare vests. They only had one for the president. They only had one for the president to protect himself with. And Banning didn't get a vest. He didn't get a plate carrier, so he has to go in without armor, with only his pistol, and with only a pistol and a knife. So he has to kind of do the looter shooter mechanics. He hides. He does the guerrilla warfare thing. He hides in a corner. He knocks out one of the salient guys. He stabs another one. Takes his plate carrier. Takes his plate carrier. Then takes his rifle. Takes his pistol. I think he takes a SIG off of him. Let's say P226. Then he goes out he has to take out these guys, and he's really It can be a bit confusing, but it is a good scene. It is a good scene in that it's forcing him to work on the fly. Instead of picking up, he doesn't manage to pick up a rifle until the end. Like, most of them is just him. He picks up a smoke grenade and has to throw it. He picks up a frag grenade, has to throw it. Because he has to stick to the pistol, because he has to discard the pistol, pick up another one. I think he reloads once. Meanwhile, all the salient guys have to realize that they have to split up the team. One team goes after the president. The rest of them have to secure the building and look for Banning. Excuse me. The rest of the team has to flank around, go around, look for Banning, and oh, my bad. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Hopefully you don't hear that. That's me tapping my back. Anyways, so they're going through that. Banning has to ambush the bad guys, takes their stuff, looter shooter mechanics where he's just picking up everything he can off the floor and using it against them. And eventually he takes his rifle. He takes a rifle. The bad guys are able to kill the Secret Service, and they break through the president's position. But it's revealed that Banning hid the president in a different part of the building. So and now they have to search the entire building for the president, which doesn't grant them enough time to do so because the FBI are already arriving. The FBI and the state police are already arriving to support the Secret Service. The president's been hiding in another office than the one that they thought they were assaulting. At the end of the shootout, the Secret Service is taken out by this one guy with by my nickname for him. Like I don't know his name, but this guy, he looked like, I guess I called him Vladimir Makarov because he's running the M4 and M203 setup. He uses that to blow down the door. And they do that, and then this becomes a plot point later because Banning later captures this setup from the guy. A lot of the M4, a lot of the ARs and M4s used in the movie are kind of whack because they're not good builds. They're kind of like, yeah, this is it's an LMT, battle rifle. a lot of the M4s that are used are kind of wonky, but it is what it is. Like the Secret Service using Magpul Moe carbines when they would be using something else. Again, good scene. Operative uses the carbine. One of Jennings' operatives. I am an IMFDB contributor, so I'm gonna have to edit some of this page later. Laser R93, Accuracy International, engaging Banning from a helicopter. So, Jennings calls in the helicopter to recover him and his right hand man because Banning is eventually takes out all the bad guys. The guy with the grenade launcher gets flattened by an M67, which is a intense but funny scene. He has to drop the body over the grenade to protect himself. So Banning has to in this scene when Banning in this shot, Banning is like gangsta firing at the helicopter that's shooting at him. I guess it's kind of a Chekhov's gun because in the opening that same helicopter sniper was training with Banning and he wasn't able to hit him. Now they're doing it for real. They're like shooting at each other for real. He's not able to take out the chopper, but eventually he does because he takes Vladimir Makarov quote unquote AK. No, not AR. He takes his AR with the M203, knocks out the helicopter while it's on the landing pad, so there's no more casualties, and then it's just him and Jennings. Something I noticed as well is a lot of the most of the mercenaries fire their ARs in semi-auto, and the guys that run their AKs are kind of running it like full auto. They're kind of running it full auto with the I think they're firing at a faster rate. I think these guys are implied to be ex-Russians or ex-Ukrainians in the PMC. Because they're running these FEG NGMs. They're kind of styled like they're kind of with a side rail. They're kind of styled like the AK-101, which is a Russian-made 5.56 AK. But two of the guys using those, which lend some pretty cool variety in the PMC, that some of them are using AKs. I thought a lot of the guys it's a good visual marker because these guys are less accurate, but they're meaner, they're more aggressive than the guys with the ARs. They're really going at the guys with the AR-15s are going like pop pop pop, like being really specific in what they're doing. Being really specific in what they're doing, probably like falling back on their military training. Guys with the AKs are running in full auto, and really going at it, really hammering away at the Secret Service in those scenes. And that was a nice touch. That was an interesting touch. Glock 17, yeah. Jennings, one of them uses a P30. And at the end, so it's time for the final battle. So he takes out. So it's just eventually it's just Jennings. It's just Jennings and Banning at the top of the office building, because all the salient guys have been taken out. But something interesting that I noticed is that earlier in the movie, when the FBI and the police finally arrive, the salient is still a threat to them despite having their numbers withered. They're not really able to do anything against them. They only have them surrounded, and eventually they get taken out. The guys circle up to the top of the roof. Banning takes out their helicopter, and it's only him and Jennings. Eventually, it's like a cowboy duel. Both of them have their pistols out. It's not revolvers, but they've got their pistols out. They've got their pistols out, and they've got their pistols out. Then they eventually switch to a knife fight, and it's handled seriously. Eventually, Jennings gets stabbed in the lung, and then both of them bleed out together because not together. Banning is safe. Banning is rendered safe. Banning is rendered safe. Banning is safe. He doesn't get touched by by Jennings. He outmaneuvers Jennings, takes him out with a knife. They're both pretty roughed up though, so they wait for each other on the roof as Jennings bleeds out, and then that's the final battle. That's the end of the movie. Almost the end of the movie. Eventually, the president gets back in. Eventually, gets back in the is restored to office, and then it's revealed that it's kind of a Deus Ex Machina that the FBI has somehow found out that the vice president is behind the assassination attempt on the president. So the president is able to has the vice president arrested, has him perp walked out of the White House, and that's that. And then I guess there's these more dramatic scenes because Janet it's Banning and Banning Sr. connecting with the rest of the family, and then they have this, and then there's this kind of unnecessary scene where they're going to therapy and they do the sensory deprivation tank, which to me it feels like the screenwriter didn't need to include that. There's just the movie could have done without that scene at the end, without them doing the therapy scene at the end, because it's kind of really played up for comedy. It's not really necessary the way that they did that. So that's one of my gripes. Is I would call this more cleaner and more concise if they just left that out. But if you're able to mentally keep that out of your mind, then this is a pretty clean cut action thriller. Like I mentioned before, this is more of a conspiracy thriller than the Olympus Has Fallen and London Has Fallen, which are more disaster movies. Oh, I said I was going to mention Hard Boiled again. Yeah, the hospital scene and the part where they have to evacuate the president. It's very, very much like Hard Boiled, where you have to get the people out of there, out of the hospital and such, because the plot point is the bad guys are going to blow up the hospital. But anyways, this is it is. I feel like they could have this could have been shorter. This could have been more concise. They could have chopped out the bits at the end with the like yeah, there's like the scenes with the there's an extra scene with banning the president where the president convinces him, yeah, now that you're vindicated, now like I'm considering quitting the Secret Service because I can't keep doing this. But then the president convinces him, you know what, stay on. I'm still going to make you director because I feel like you need this. You need to power through and keep going. And you need your, like, you just have, all you need is your morale restored. All you need is your morale restored because the, like, I know you're the best guy that can handle the bad guys. You're the best guy that can handle the bad guys. I need you by my side and all that. And so, yeah, I think Angel Has Fallen Future. There is Night Has Fallen with Butler returning. It still hasn't come out because it's in development hell. Future films. Night Has Fallen was given the green light with Butler announced to reprise his role as Mike Manning in addition to serving as producer, and Waugh to return as director with the script co-written with Kamen. The project was to be a joint venture between G-Base, Eclectic Pictures, Campbell Grobman Films, and Millennium Media. In 2023, after a lengthy lawsuit, it was confirmed that monetary disputes between Butler and Millennium Media has been settled, and production on Night Has Fallen is expected to commence after the end of the production after the end of 2023. So it's probably in production now, which might be the finale. I know there's like some ongoing TV shows about the Has Fallen series, but yeah, I consider this mostly a trilogy for now. And if you wanted it to be, Angel Has Fallen works as a finale. I consider other, like, Olympus Has Fallen and London Has Fallen offered greater spectacle, but Angel Has Fallen moving into the conspiracy thriller theory, the conspiracy thriller side instead of the disaster movie side, kind of like, it changes things and makes things more interesting in my opinion. But I only wish is that they could have leaned into it more. They could have made like the villain's plot more elaborate instead of just the vice president wants to kill the president so he can be powerful and whatever because he's power hungry. And the I think the villain, like Jennings leading his PM seat not for money or like greed but for the love of the game. He's just in it because in it so he can still like live life on the edge. The action is the juice and all that. He wants to be a warrior forever. That is interesting from that perspective. You kind of see it from stuff like the Terminal List. From TV shows like the Terminal List and all that. Overall, it's not as good as the other ones, but it's still like a solid 6 to 7 out of 10. Oh, 6, 7. It's 6 to 7 out of 10. And in my opinion, like I've been waiting to say, for a movie that I've been hyping myself up to see. Was it the spectacle that I wanted? No. But watching it as a movie, it disappointed me a little bit because it didn't live up to my expectations, but it didn't damage them. It didn't damage my expectations. I didn't like come off thinking worse of the movies because I still very much enjoyed this movie. This is a good movie. Good movie. I like, again, if you're into this kind of thing, if you're into action thrillers like this, then I recommend it. And overall, I think when it comes to like the conspiracy thriller or the political thriller, political cinema, you think of like I think the preceding one to this is Air Force One, and while I really like this movie, fun fact, apparently this is Trump's favorite movie, which is really funny. Air Force One about like where it's where the president has the Air Force One hijacked and he has to escape and he has to like take out the terrorists and all that. It's a good spectacle. Air Force One is a good spectacle. Good 90s classic action movie, late 90s at least. And also, just like I just realized because the bad guys in Air Force One are Russian ultranationalists. Again, this is very Modern Warfare 1 theme. This is very like Modern Warfare 1 coded, just as the Angel Has Fallen, Olympus Has Fallen, London Has Fallen are very Modern Warfare 2 and 3 theme, like very Modern Warfare 2 and 3 coded. But I wish they leaned harder into like they made the villain scheme more elaborate. That I guess like. For a politically focused thriller, this is a rather apolitical movie, which I guess is necessary for the kinds of audiences that you want to attract. you don't want to make it about any relevant issues that are going on at the time. But again, despite being a very like a rather apolitical movie, it is rather startling at how they were able to predict some real life weapons and conflicts that would be used later that decade. Later, like a few years later. But yeah, it's like for compared to modern movies, like yeah, it's not much, but it is kind of a breath of fresh air. Good spectacle if you're into that sort of thing. But again, I wish the villain scheme was a bit more. It was less on the. I wish it was less on the nose. I wish it wasn't so like full of tropes. I wish it was harder to detect who the bad guy was. It's kind of on the nose that like the vice president is the bad guy. You're like at least by the like you kind of like you're expecting it to you're expect like you don't know you don't know if it is or if it isn't, but you kind of have to expect that the vice president is going to be the bad guy because of his because of how aggressively his character acts. So that's going on and how. But yeah, I wish it was a little bit more elaborate. I think the ending comedy scenes could have been cut out. But besides that, it's an okay movie. And you know what? Just as like to, I've had like this long interest in the Has Fallen series. It's not like a major interest of mine, but I do think it's a decent enough series to like to watch movies of. Olympus Has Fallen, I do recommend it, and the same with London Has Fallen. And the same for London Has Fallen. So yeah, and I guess to end us off. Pointless Hub is a pretty good. Hopefully, YouTube doesn't copy strike this one because Pointless Hub is a good video on this.
March.
On the twin movie phenomenon. Anyways,
2013. You go to the movie theater to see Olympus Has Fallen. In it, the White House is under attack, the president is in danger, and the only person who can save him is one man, who against the odds takes down the baddies and saves America. June.
it is genuinely Kino though. Very, again, Olympus Has Fallen is very Modern Warfare 2 coded. If you're into old COD and and you want a movie kind of like it, then by all means watch Olympus Has Fallen.
2013. You go to the movie theater again to see White House Down. In it, the White House is under attack, the president is in danger, and the only person who can save him is one man, who against the odds takes down the baddies and saves America. Wait a second, something isn't right. Nobody saw White House Down in theaters. Also, these movies might have the same exact premise. I guess we should probably talk about that.
Yeah, they made two of them in 2013.
I'm gonna get this out of the way. This isn't some unique phenomenon. Two films with a similar setting or
I saw Dante's Peak though. It was everyone cites Volcano and like the really gory scene about the guy burning in lava. I didn't like that. Well, Dante's Peak kind of has that. It was a good like I didn't notice it at the time, but it's like funny. You got Sarah Connor and James Bond fighting a volcano. Well, they don't fight a volcano, but they run away from it, and it's got some really good scenes, and they do really well in it. Yeah, Linda Hamilton, Sarah Connor, Pierce Brosnan was James Bond. Yeah, 1997. So same year as Air Force One actually. But yeah, Dante's Peak is a good disaster movie. I like Dante's Peak.
Releasing within the same year has been a thing ever since movies existed. They're called twin films. You've probably recognized this from time to time, even if you didn't know the term. Why twin films happen in the first place isn't
what the hell?
Because of a simple answer. Hollywood is an interconnected machine, and sometimes scripts travel between multiple studios before being accepted. Sometimes coincidences just happen, you know? And we can't make any assumptions for why that is. Once in a while, Hollywood just wants to make a movie about 19th century magicians in
These do happen a lot.
2006. Why these happen is a case-to-case situation. All that matters is that when they do, it's pretty funny.
It's easy to know. It's easy to know when this happens.
There was a year we had 2 movies about animated ants, 2 movies about an asteroid apocalypse, 2 movies
Armageddon was better.
about animated
I haven't even seen Armageddon though.
animals escaping from the zoo. And who could forget those 2 movies about United 93? Jesus.
Kling 3.0 just
Oh.
landed on our list.
Oh, shut
A
up.
true game changer for AI video.
Christ. I like to imagine there was one person in 2006 who went to both 9/11 movies and then compared them on entertainment value alone. Even Battle Los Angeles technically had a twin movie. It was called Skyline, which was also about aliens invading LA.
Is that's an X-47? Is this Ace Combat with aliens?
But that's pretty much where the similarities ended. If you've never heard of Skyline, you know, that's fair. Many popular films we remember today strangely had twins that were forgotten to time. Like, one sibling went on to open a law firm while the other disappeared in 2004 after owing too much money to the mob. Like, you might know of Top Gun.
Iron Eagle. I know what Iron Eagle. Yeah, Top Gun Love. I know what Iron Eagle
That
is.
defined an era for a generation of Xers.
You can be my wingman anytime.
A
Shut up.
film so iconic that its sequel broke $1 billion solely by being not Marvel. Well, turns out there was another movie in 1986 that also involved
Iron Eagle.
fighter pilots called Iron Eagle.
Which was apparently this was a really bad movie, but apparently, according to my dad, Iron Eagle was really big in the Philippines.
He may know how to fly. Now he must learn how to fight.
Basically an Ace Combat movie because his F-16 carries like unlimited munitions.
On its release, critic Kevin Thomas of the LA Times praised the film as ludicrous and a total waste of time. But sometimes both twin films are released, and the common reception is just, they were okay, I guess. And that was the fate that befell the two White House action thrillers,
Olympus Has Fallen was good though.
And White House Down. I want to talk about both of these because I think they're a good example of how differently you can execute a similar premise. The premise here being, the White House is under attack, and only this guy can stop it. Both of these movies follow a pretty similar plot. So instead of telling you about two movies that both have a protagonist that has to save the White House from bad guys, well, why don't we just combine it all?
No.
Where necessary along the way. Sound
okay,
good?
whatever.
Good. First thing I want to get out of the way is the budget. Which one of these do you think had the bigger budget? Look at a few clips, get a good idea. Now, if you answered White House Down because, of course, that's where this joke is going, then you would be right. Both of these are about the White House getting attacked, yet the movie that cost twice as much to make looks significantly worse. The way
it's oversaturated. You can see the bloom lighting and the oversaturation on those camera shots.
Utilize their budget is entirely different. Olympus was made on $70 million. White House Down, on the other hand, directed by everyone's favorite Roland Emmerich,
the master of disaster.
It's like it was a Lifetime movie special. The way White House Down is filmed just feels stale, cheesy. Ugh. Nothing about this feels like it was actually shot in DC. How are
aggressive use of CGI.
Movies only looking worse with each installment? Despite having less of a budget, Olympus makes you feel like the situation is, kind of serious.
Again, if you look at Olympus Has Fallen, I'm saying it again with the slight graininess and the color grading about everything looks a little bit brown and reddish. Like grayscale and brown scale, gray, like a lot of gray and brown filters over a lot of stuff. It does look like Modern Warfare 2.
Damn, the White House is getting attacked. That's insane. While White House Down feels like a video game, and it kind of makes you chuckle.
Well, not in a bad way. It's like the knockoff. It's like the knockoff Slavjank CODs.
White House is getting attacked. I saw that in Modern Warfare 2. So I guess I should talk about our protagonists. Look, I'm not gonna use any character names. This is Channing Tatum. I'm not gonna call him, what'd they call him in this movie? John Cale? Man, they really swung for the fences with that one. He's 21 Jump Street guy.
Fuck you, science.
Starting off with Olympus Has Fallen, it stars Gerard Butler. He's one of the top agents in the Secret Service, ex-Special Forces, who's also close personal friends with the president and his little family. It's Christmas time at Camp David. Everyone's so wholesome to one another. The First Lady is charming and in a loving relationship with the President, so of course she's going to brutally die.
Which just happens.
Man, Two-Face cannot catch a break with women because of this little miss.
Oh yeah, the in Angel has in Olympus Has Fallen, in London Has Fallen, the president, who's like the prior president to Trumbull, aka Morgan Freeman, he's played by like the guy who played Harvey Dent in The Dark Knight.
Butler is transferred to another department. Nobody really blames him for what happened, but the president doesn't really want to see his face because, you know, dead wife. I think this works pretty well for the story. We've established a personal relationship between these two characters, and also there's a realistic explanation for why he isn't inside the White House when, you know, bad thing happened. What about White House Down? He's a vet and a cop, a divorce cop. In fact, he gets denied joining the Secret Service because he's told he just sucks. Loser! You're a loser! So how does Channing find himself in a situation to save the White House? Well, you see, he was on a tour with his daughter, who hates him, but she really loves national monuments. She can't call her father dad, but she can name every fun fact of the executive branch. His special
You know, I think I was kind of like that as a kid.
relationship with the president is by meeting him on the tour, like what always happens.
no one like this doesn't happen.
Lying to children.
Little does the president know he'll soon have to team up with this random schlub because his entire security is populated by nothing but clowns. Time to talk about the villains, who you might have already figured out for Olympus Has Fallen.
Yeah, it's the North Korean.
The US is meeting with them. Suddenly, an AC-130 is hijacked, and it flies mysteriously towards DC. Air Force jets are scrambled, and the president is brought into a secret underground bunker. Realistically, we all know that plane isn't going anywhere close to DC.
Yeah.
By miles. The second it was discovered to be going close to the Capitol, it'd be shot out of the sky. But, you know, movie has to happen, and we'll assume the military doesn't have secret missiles or space lasers. I mean, all the plane really does is fly around for 2 minutes, wreck up the place, and then it gets shot out of the sky. Just like any good Battlefield player would do, they aim their falling craft to get the largest amount of casualties possible.
Another slams his Su-57 in the ground. Okay, hold on.
As this craziness is the largest amount of casualties possible. As this craziness is occurring, it turns out the South Korean security detail
are the
was
wrong kind of
Korean the whole time. Egads, it's the North. Who could have seen this coming? Well, technically, it's not North Korea itself. This is actually a terrorist group called the Koreans for United Freedom, or KUF. They're not operating for Pyongyang. They deny any involvement, which is probably the movie's way of saying this conflict doesn't escalate after the end of the film. The KUF are like the League of Assassins, but for a communist Korea. Their planning has at least a bit of strategy to it. They repurpose civilian vehicles.
They got an M240 on a dump truck.
Successfully orchestrate their assault, and even have guys on the inside to capture the president, even though they shouldn't be in the secret bunker at all. They're led by Kang, not that Kang, one of the world's deadliest terrorists.
Oh yeah, this guy. He was Zhao in Die Another Day in the James Bond film, where he also plays a North Korean.
Who's never had his face
like why this guy keeps like chosen as being like the. Hold on, I think was he in hold on. Give me a second. Was he in Fast and Furious? Yeah, Rick Yoon. He was the bad guy in Fast and Furious 1.
Photographed before, so that's how he was able to infiltrate the White House. It's like if Osama bin Laden snuck up on George Bush. Kang wants the US 7th Fleet to leave East Asia, and for all those US troops in the South to just go away, which is quite the demand. I don't think—
Is that Arlie Ermy?
US troops in the South to just go away, which is—
It kind of looks like him though. They kind of got a guy that looks like him for the The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
Quite the demand. I don't think the federal government would sit around pondering these options. So what about White House Down? Who are the bad guys who are trying to take down Jamie Foxx, who is in no way similar to a politician that was around in 2013? Okay, please don't demonetize me, YouTube. I didn't know this before making this video, but it turns out the bad guys are just racists.
Carl Killick. This guy's a right-wing sociopath. Tried to blow up his local post office because they employed too many African Americans.
So apparently, they don't like Jamie Foxx because he's Obama.
You're selling this country out to the Arabs.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
And also because he wants to, and I quote, take all of the troops out of the Middle East, the specifics of which are never told. All that said is that this is a good thing, and bad racist people, plus the military-industrial complex, don't want it to happen.
Look, those guys that run those corporations have been in bed with these radical regimes for years. All they want to do is keep the cycle of war going.
So, movie. Does anyone else find it ironic that the very clearly Obama president doesn't want civilians bombed? When was this written? 2007? But, plot twist, it turns out the main bad guy the whole time was James Woods.
What are you doing? Consider this my resignation.
You can't make this up. So how is this
Wait, is he running a Mark 23?
gang of mercenaries take over the White House? Pretty easily, to be honest. Like, they just disguise themselves as janitors. They then, without much resistance at all...
They're all... That guy's got a E250, I think, or an early P320. That guy's got a Glock, I think.
Just take over the White House without much resistance at all. Just take over the
That's a good clip.
White House. With Olympus, it felt like a real battle to overrun the White House. Sure, it took some questionable tactics.
Yeah, there's like...
But, you know, it kind of felt earned by the villains to actually take it. Like, a lot of people die. There's still...
The Secret Service kind of acts really stupid in Olympus Has Fallen. Like, there's no counter-assault team. Like, normally you'd have a lot of guys with a lot of guns shooting up your position if you ever try to come close to the White House.
Bodies lying around at the end of the movie. And yet in White House, it just doesn't feel like a center of the US government is under attack. It feels like this is a soundstage, and they could only afford to have a few extras because they blew the budget on getting Jamie Foxx to sign up for this. Now here's the thing. I'm gonna skip through both of these films. Here's a quick summary. Bad guys attack, hostages are taken, one man tries to save the president, the government is trying to coordinate on the outside. They launch a raid.
I forgot to realize that Lance Reddick. Hold on, hold on, Lance Reddick. Was he in Yeah, rest in peace, Lance Reddick. No, he wasn't in Olympus Has Fallen. That's just a guy that kind of looks like him.
Tries to save the president. The government is
That's just a guy that looks like him.
Outside, they launch a raid by helicopter which ends in disaster. Bad guys are taken out one by one. Somewhere along the way, an important kid is rescued. And then at the very end, the main boss explains his master plan involving the nation's stockpile of nukes, which were the real target all along. There you go. I just saved you 4 hours. I think there was a joyriding scene somewhere in between there. I don't really know. While the overall story beats are scarily identical, both of these movies differ from one another in tone. Olympus Has Fallen.
They will kill you.
Oh, what is...
You're so intense. This is all we can show.
Wow.
They will kill you.
Okay, they will kill you. This movie.
How about an...
Sorry, I don't have ad block. Sorry.
Action movie. The violence is quick and the situation played completely straight. People are being executed. Our protagonist, Olympus Has Fallen, is an R-rated action movie. The violence is quick and the situation played completely straight. People are being executed. Our protagonist tortures a few guys. The president is pretty much held hostage inside a bunker for the entire movie. He's the Princess Peach to our Mario, which leaves him with nothing to really do other than be very angry. White House Down, despite being about actual neo-Nazis and blow up the Capitol, the tone is overall lighter. It's a dumb summer action movie. Jamie Foxx
what is that shot?
Stay captured in a bunker all day. He shoots a rocket launcher. Yeah, it's just a good romp fighting side by side with the president, just like that time with JFK.
Lock and load.
With that out of the way,
Gentlemen,
that brings us to the end of.
we must have all. I'm trying to. I got confused between the JFK voice and the Trump voice. I can't do a Boston accent well. I like his speech in fives. We must five it. Gentlemen, lock and load.
Of our films, the enemy force has
To deter all forms of aggression.
defeated. Our heroes are face to face with the boss, and all is finally revealed. In Olympus, Kang secretly planned from the beginning to bring the president down into the secret bunker. As you can see, Kang knew about this top secret project called Cerberus. A classified failsafe that would explode any nuclear.
Oh, that's shot from Terminator 3.
Arsenal if it was accidentally launched. The
it doesn't work like that.
password to Cerberus is split between 3 high-ranking officials, including the President and Secretary of State. Cerberus can only be accessed in that bunker that they're stuck in and nowhere else. So the whole movie, Kang is just torturing people to get this info. The president is the last holdout. He'll never tell until he does. With his demands to move the fleet and leave South Korea, the government fears he's doing this to leave the US defenseless. Well, with the final code entered, it's finally revealed his grand plan all along was to blow up every US nuclear weapon in its silos.
That's not how it works.
Silo doors are closed.
Whose idea was it in this top
Oh yeah, that happens in Command and Conquer. I don't know anything about Command and Conquer.
secret project to include an explode everything button? The project was created to be a last-minute failsafe before hitting a target. Like the missile explodes in midair and nuclear wars just.
Yeah, I don't think they knew what they were doing with that one.
Here is, when would it ever be necessary to explode all of your nukes at once?
Again, very like we did this mission in Modern Warfare 1. We've seen where this was going.
In midair. How was this option ever intended to be used properly?
Coin-operated self-destruct. Not one of my better ideas.
White House Down is somehow less eventful than almost blowing up the whole country, which is pretty hard to top. But that doesn't mean they didn't try. As you see, James Woods, who betrayed the president, was angry that his son died in a raid that Jamie Foxx ordered. So his ultimate plan is to use the US nukes to blow up the entire Middle East.
The Middle East is our last war. It will be us. Or them.
So if you're watching this in Saudi Arabia...
And his reasoning is so no American ever dies there again. Which, man, that's some logic, ain't it? The lesson here isn't don't invade the Middle East. The lesson's wipe out the Middle East so we don't have an urge to invade it again.
You know, I went very political at the start of the stream. This feels oddly pertinent, and this video was made 3 years ago.
Obviously, by the end of both movies, these plans don't work. Our heroes walk out of the White House, beaten up but glad that the day was victorious. They bonded together, retaking the executive branch, and maybe even learning something about each other and themselves along the way. There's no way there's any horrific political ramifications for this at all. How were these terrorists able to disguise themselves as janitors or South Koreans? This seems like it was a horrific security breach, doesn't it? It's just never discussed again that the president gave up the nuclear codes and almost nuked the country. At the end of the day, the reaction for both of these films was a solid meh. The biggest thing that made both of them stand out in the first place was how similar they were to one another.
I don't think about White House Down a lot oh yeah, CinemaSins did it. Back when CinemaSins was good. Unironically though, Olympus Has Fallen... Well, Olympus Has Fallen is a generally better movie. Like you've heard me glazing it all the time. Again, it's a very stupid movie. It's not a perfect movie, but if you're into schlock from that era, action schlock like I am, then go ahead and watch it.
It's their biggest legacy, this one joke. Olympus ended up actually making a decent profit. bringing in 170 million, meaning there is just enough of an excuse to spawn a sequel and then a third movie, which I didn't even know existed until doing this video.
Well, which this stream is about.
I don't know if either of these are good because I never saw them.
London Has Fallen is, again, probably one of the better ones in the series because they capture that essence, like the essence of motion and mobility as you move throughout the movie really well. Like, you're always moving forward to that movie. I think it was pretty well shot.
At least they're keeping people employed, I guess. The same cannot be said for White House Down. Despite its massive budget and better summer slot, it was a flop. Well, it made up its budget at least, but for what it was advertised as and compared to Emmerich's previous films, it underperformed hard, which is a trend that he has not escaped from.
Yeah.
Despite being so similar, these movies offered very different experiences. Okay, maybe not very different, slightly different experiences, and whether one was better than the other really just depended on your personality, I guess.
You want to see something really special?
Yeah?
Carol?
Henry, the president wants to do the thing.
Olympus Has Fallen was better. Oh no, I did not mean to. I did not mean to click on that. Anyways, I think, hold on, how long have we been going? Yeah, 2 hours exactly. Thank you everyone who came. I feel like I could have handled some stuff better, but that's all I've got for you to say now. With the strikes going on, with the all that. Anyways, where shall I send you? Where shall I send you off today? Subscriptions. Anyways, Anglo VT. Who else has going on? Who else is working here? Anyways, thank you everyone who came. Thank you, Dantiok and Clanker, Dantiok Fanboy and Clanker. Otsu Love, and I'll be seeing you on Monday. Actually, I did like to announce my what I will be doing on Monday. It is I was originally gonna include it as part of this stream, but I decided that like a lot of the topics that I wanted to discuss, which are somehow even going to be even spicier than the stuff that I've covered today, on Monday should be saved for its own like extended rant because I have a lot of thoughts regarding that, and a lot of them that are maybe a bit controversial, but I'll be saving that for Monday. I'll be rating into Anglo VT. Thank you everyone who came. O2 Love, and I'll be seeing you Monday. Say hi to Mr. Anglo VT for me.